All right. Hey, how's it, everybody? Let me check my levels. It looks like I might not be muted, and you might be able to hear me. I am Mad Statter. This is Chatter with Statter. It is 5 p.m. West Coast time, 2 p.m. Hawaii time, 8 p.m. on the East Coast, and 7 p.m. where Rick and Darlene are at. That's right, the Central Coast people. Don't know why I keep calling y'all Central Coast people, but that's what you are in my mind. So, hey, super stoked to see Rick and Darlene back in the house. They made it back today, and they're glad to be here, or at least Rick is. I'm glad they're here. And hello, Darlene. Hello, Rick. So happy. Yes, we do indeed have that 720 gear. We're broadcasting at 720, and we've got the gear. So if you're feeling twitchy, downgrade your stream. Perhaps things will smooth on out. Now, I have to say, I'm thinking that we might want to boost our signal up to 1080 pretty soon, because as of today, the GoPro that was formerly on loan to me, uh-oh, hold on. Thank you, Rick. Not only was I not muted, I was double boosting or whatever. I think I figured out the echo. So Rick, with your good ears, if you could let me know. Good, it's gone. Okay. I finally know what my buttons do, and I pressed the right button. All right then. So now that the echo's gone, thanks so much, by the way, I'll go back to bragging. So we're going to maybe upgrade our stream to 1080 pretty soon. Hopefully Twitch will allow us to continue to keep that gear. And the reason why I'm thinking we're going to be upping to the 1080 is because the GoPro that was formerly on loan to me, I actually just put a payment down on it, so I think it belongs to me now. And so that means I'll be shooting fancy pants videos, which means we need a fancy pants stream. Now, if we go to 1080 one day and then Twitch is just like, no gear for you, then we'll go back down to the 720, because that's the whole reason we did the 720 to begin with, to give you guys the gear. And hey, Picola T, good to see you. Happy Wednesday to you. Cindy Krause, you are on time for once. Super stoked to see you. So, speaking of Picola T, yes, Sunday, Picola T thought, well, you know, I might be a little bit late, so maybe I should give a doctor's note for why I'm going to be a little bit late. And this was the doctor's note that she sent me. And so I think that it's the best doctor's note ever. And I'm not saying that if you guys are going to be late, you need to give me an excuse or provide a doctor's note. But if the doctor's note that you've got is as pretty as the doctor's note that Picola T had, well, by all means, send it my way. That's right. That was why she wasn't able to come to the stream on time. She was at the beach. Best reason ever as far as I was concerned. That's true. And so, Darlene, it was nice temperature and not too humid up north except for the last day. Well, that's super good because, you know, late July, early August, in my area at least, is typically the hottest part of the year. This last week has been awesome, 70 degrees or so, but the week before in Seattle, boy howdy, it was, well, we broke our record, actually. We broke a record for the longest stretch of 90-plus degree days in a row. We have been known to have splurges, you know, of a couple days in a row, but this one was like, I think, a full 6-day stretch. Now, I'm sure that that Kenny from the Cove, if he's here, is just like, 6 days over 90? Babies, wimps. I mean, if that isn't a reason for Kenny from the Cove to be sending out all of the haha emotes, I don't know what is. Because, yeah, in Texas, 6 days in a row over 90, yeah, that's called January, right? Right. So there we have it. Yeah, exactly, Picola T. Take 2 of these and call me in the morning. That is precisely it. And oh my goodness, Cindy. Okay, actually, Cindy, here, she's another person who should be throwing down all of the haha emotes. It's just like, what? You had a record-breaking 6 days in a row of 90 degrees? That's cute, Seattle, says Cindy. 103 at the moment, down from 104. Awesome. Gosh darn it, dude. I don't even know how you survive there, little Cindy Krause. You're just, you are just, yeah, you're a stronger person than I am, that's for sure. Hey, speaking of Cindy Krause, so how's Tilly doing? I would imagine that this is Tilly's, wonderful time of the year. It's all hot and stuff. Is Tilly making her or his way around the yard? For those who don't know, Tilly is a tortoise, a desert tortoise that is one of Cindy's pets, and hibernates during the colder time of year. But this is a warmer time of the year, so definitely not hibernating. And if you ever do meet Cindy, and if you ever meet Tilly with Cindy, be sure not to have your toenails painted red, because Tilly the turtle, Tilly the tortoise, she thinks they're strawberries, and she loves strawberries. So, no red toes. And Darlene says, we've lucked out, to be honest, usually much hotter, but you'll take it. Next week up north, 90s and very humid. Yeah, next week in Seattle, it's supposed to be another 90-degree stretch, but I'm sure not nearly the humidity that you guys have up there. Generally, Seattle is in the 60% humidity range, although the last couple of years, the humidity has been remarkably low, which is definitely not something that I like. But, I mean, I don't like high humidity either, but low humidity, you know, that's the thing of fires, and we don't want no fires. So let's see, Cindy's saying, just trying to a friend feel better. Tilly is pissed at the moment because he dig where his old hole spot. Wait, Tilly is pissed at the moment because he dig where his old hole spot. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Okay, wait, Tilly is banned. Oh no! Oh no, Tilly is banned because the hole was going under the county Wells parking lot, caused a cave in. Oh no! So Tilly's been super busy and industrious. We need to put Tilly to work. Sounds like Tilly would be a good ditch digger. We just need to put him in the right direction of the right ditch. But yeah, I bet Tilly is pissed. Like, listen, Mom, I had a project, and now what? You're keeping me from my project? I need to get this project completed, and you are keeping me from getting this project completed. You don't see my vision, Mom. I have this vision. You're not letting me get to it. You're being hassled. I feel, Mom, like I'm being hassled by the man. And let's see here. Darlene, yeah, you've been up to the 70, 75% humidity. And yeah, it is awful when it gets to be that high or even higher. But you know, when it's in the 30% humidity, I start wondering, like, are things going to start spontaneously combusting or something? And my skin gets all dry and awful. So, let's see here. Oh, Pocola Tea. I saw this too. So Pocola Tea saw a cool tip for cooling off backyard chickens. You take your corn and put them in a muffin tin, and then put the water over the muffin tin, or in the muffin tins, and you freeze it. So then you got little chunks of icy corn, like muffin-sized ice corn chunks, and you throw them into the little backyard to let the little backyard chickens chomp away at the ice, and then for a treat, they get the little corn once they break through the ice. I thought that was a brilliant idea as well. Totally. Too bad Anne's not here. She needs to learn these chicken tricks. Hold on. Let's see. What am I trying to say? Anne needs to learn these chicken tips or tricks. There we go. And, oh no, Tilly got stuck behind the asphalt, had to dig him out and fill the hole to look innocent when they find the hole. Oops. So basically, we're all now in a conspiracy to cover up the crime that Tilly has done. Got it. All right, you guys, we're all part of the conspiracy. So shh. When the man comes knocking at your door and says, "Hey, there's a well in California. Their parking lot, it caved in. Do you know anything about it?" What you're gonna say is, "I don't know nothing. I didn't see a tortoise. Oh wait, you didn't hear me say tortoise. I don't know nothing." That's what you're gonna say. And Rick, oh good, you're gonna pass that one on to your daughter for the school chicken flock? Yeah, totally. I mean, honestly, I would imagine if your area is anything like our area, it stays quite warm until, you know, at least at the beginning of September, it's kind of warm. So yeah, they'll definitely want to keep their chickens friendly and happy and fluffy and cooled off. And oh, Tilly is a protected species? Oh, okay, well that's cool. That's cool. So no death row for Tilly. Just a firm talking to. Got it. Got it. Okay. Okay. Oh, let's see here. You know, Pacola T, that's what I was thinking. She said, send Tilly to Honolulu. Sounds like he works faster on roadways than our city county crews. That's what I was thinking. It's just like, shoot. Clearly, Tilly is a very industrious worker. Just, you know, get a pallet of strawberries and Tilly will be happy for, you know, a week. So, yeah, you know, get that new roadway cleared. Get a little... It's so ironic, too. A bunch of turtles working faster than dudes. I know they're not turtles. There's tortoises, but turtles just are the one... You know, neither of them are quick, right? People think of turtles as slow. I don't know if people think of tortoises as slow. They seem kind of slow. I mean, I've seen videos of tortoises that are actually can kind of book, but... Cindy Krause, petrified wood in the hole to make a statement to Tilly. No digging here. Got it. Got it. Oh, so you just happen to have some petrified wood on hand? How handy. Here, like something equally as rare and endangered as this species that I'm trying to stop from digging. All right, then. There you go. All right, so for those of you who don't know, I am assuming most of you by now have known because I've been going off about it for a little while, but oh yeah, for sure, Cindy Krause, send a picture. And while you send the picture, I'm going to, or you don't have to send the picture right now, you can send it later, but I'm going to show you not a picture, but a cute little video because now we're talking about pets, I'm sure you guys probably know, and if you didn't know, you will know in a minute. My boss got 2 kittens, and they were born in 2 different litters, but they were raised as though they were in one litter. The litter actually suffered from parvo, and all of the kittens, except for the 2 that my boss got, eventually did end up passing from the disease. But the cats now are over that and sort of healthy, super stunted in their growth at the moment, which just means they're really, really tiny and super, super cute. So, I'm going to show you a picture of super cute kitten. No, I'm not. I'm not going to show you a picture. I'm going to show you a video of super cute kittens. So we're going to have like a 3.5 minute video on kittens. So if you don't like kittens, look away. But if you do like kittens, stay tuned. Okay, so the little one, hey, Kenny from the Cove, you just joined us in time for watching a video of my kittens that I have at my work. Now, the main kitten that is playing with the feather duster, that one is the girl kitten. She's the bigger of the 2. And they call her Archie. I think that's a stupid name, but I guess Archie's her name. And then the little kitten that's no longer in the scene, he's the boy kitten. He's super tiny, and he's just so tiny, but he's super chill. He's the most brave of the 2. The one that is playing with the feather, she actually is like the most skittish, and doesn't really like me that much, even though I'm the one playing with the feather. She's scared of me. And, but the little boy kitty who's not in the screen right now, he's the one that I had the pictures of earlier on the last stream, and he's little Cuddle Bucket. And oh no, Pacola T, the stream is lagging right when the kitten video started. Well, you're going to have to maybe adjust your little gear thing, because we do have the gear. And Darlene, I don't know if he was the runt of the litter. Like I said, the kittens had such a rough start with being ill with parvo. I just don't know if he was the smallest to begin with, or if he just ended up, I just don't know. But as tiny as he is, let's assume he was the runt of the litter, because he is super tiny. And I think he'll come back onto the screen, if I remember correctly. He joins the fun a little bit later before the video ends. But I could be making that up because I don't remember exactly. Oh, there's the little boy. He was way more interested in that singular feather than the big movement one. So yeah. So that's what I've been doing at work lately, is playing with kittens, and it's a really good thing that it's not a tax deadline right now, because I just want to play with kittens instead of tax deadline stuff. Hey, C Honda, good to see you. Yes. And Darlene, does he interact with his sister, Archie, that is? What's the little guy's name? The little guy's name is Foss. They named him after Fearless Fosdick, I guess. These names mean nothing to me. And so that's Foss and Archie to me. It's just I just don't like calling them that. But the boy's name is Foss, the girl's name is Archie. And yes, normally whenever I come to work, they are cuddled together. But then as soon as I come into the office, which is like their main room, the little boy, just stays in his little kitty cat bed, but she goes, oh, whoops, the video's over. But yeah, but the girl kitty, Archie, when I come into the office, she runs and hides in a box, whereas Foss just hangs out on the desk and lets me cuddle him. But before I get in the office, they're cuddling together, they play together, they definitely love each other. And so Pacola T reminds you need to trim your cat's nails. Wish you luck. Yeah, good. Okay, good. Do you need a Band-Aid? I've got some Band-Aids if you need a Band-Aid. Let's see here. Kenny, you could have named them Sterling and Lana. It's an Archer reference. See, I don't watch Archer, and whatever the Fearless Fosdick thing is, was something that I don't even know what they're talking about. The reason why I'm so is because I thought that my names for the kitties it was brilliant. It was going to be Hazel and Phil. And the boy would obviously be Phil for Philbert, Philbert Nut. And then Hazel would be the hazelnut. And Hazel is a little bit of a nut. And Phil, he's so chill. He really is the chill one of the two. And Hazel, she's kind of the nut of the two. And so Phil and Hazel, it made sense to me, because Philbert and Hazelnut, it's the same nut. It's just two different names. Phil and Hazel, I thought it was cute, but yeah, my boss and her husband were just like, no, we're not feeling it. So I guess since they aren't mine, I suppose I have to let them name their own kittens. Yeah, so that's the biggest drama in my life recently. It's just my boss poorly named her cats, as far as I'm concerned. So, yeah, so you guys, so what would you, okay, seriously, Fearless Fosdick, does anybody even know what that is? How can, what is a Fearless Fosdick? I know, exactly, Darlene, it's like, Hazel and Phil, way cute concept, right? But whatever, they're kittens. So, but what is a Fearless Fosdick? I don't, that's what I don't, And Kenny, exactly, like, because they're naming the little kitten Foss because he's fearless, and they're naming the big kitten Archie because she arches her back. And it's like, first off, you came up with these names the very first night that they came to your house. And so you don't name the cats the first night. I mean, unless you're like me and you already decided they're going to be Hazel and Phil. But, yeah, I don't know. But can anybody explain to me what a fearless Fosdick is? I mean, that's really what, like, the Archie thing I get. I mean, I don't like it, but I get it. But fearless Fosdick, what is that even? What is that even? Right, exactly, Kenny from the Hove. You've heard of fearless Fosdick, but you don't know what it's about. Exactly, it's like, I definitely, when she said that phrase, I was like, I for sure have heard I've heard those sounds in that order before, but I don't have any idea what. And okay, so Rick, it's some kind of comic strip way back then. Okay. And exactly, Darlene, you're supposed to wait a bit to get their personalities down to give them good names that fit them. That's exactly it. That was what I thought. And so when I went to work the next day after I brought the kittens to the work, to them, and they told me, okay, these are the names. I was just like, no, I'm just gonna. I was like, I didn't say this, but I was like, I'm just going to ignore that because it's too soon to name them. But now, a week later, they're still calling them that, and it's just like, all right, I guess these are their names now. And Cindy, yeah, I guess it might be their private joke. Like, I sure as heck ain't a public joke, that's for darn sure. And see, Honda, I think you know me a little better than I care to admit. Just call them whatever you want. You know I'm going to. You know I'm going to call them Hazel and Phil. And then that'll eventually morph into something like, oh, my Hazel bunny butt and my, Filbert, whateverness. And it'll turn into something completely, completely ridiculous and, baby talk or whatever. But I can tell you it's probably you're never going to hear me say Archie or Foss, that's for sure. Well, I mean, other than right now, And Kenny from the Cove, your Hobbs, I mean, if it's his name perfectly. Well, yeah, you named him right after the, Calvin and Hobbs, right? I'm assuming. And I would love to assume that your Hobbs is an orange cat because, duh. And if he's not an orange cat, he's at least a tabby, right? Right. And Darlene, I apparently my reputation precedes me. Darlene's like, yeah, I figured she'd just call them whatever she wanted to. Yep. Well, the dogs that we have at work are named Abby and Callie, and I call them Abracadabra and Calibo. So, and my boss gets really annoyed when I call Calibo, and I don't really know why she gets annoyed, because it's like, it's still kind of got her name in it. I'm just calling her Chocolate, because I think Calibo is a chocolate brand, isn't it? I don't know. But you know what, though? I've been calling her Rottweiler mixed dogs Kittens for the last 10 years, and that's just how that works. That's right. You can be a 10-year-old Rottweiler mix, and you're still a kitten to me, because you're cute and fluffy, and you have soft ears, which makes you a kitten. Okay, yeah, Kenny from the Cove, Calvin and Hobbs inspired, and he was an orange tabby. Exactly. I knew he had to be. Now you say he was, so he was a was. Is he not still a still, it sounds like? And if he's not still a still, do you have a new kitty instead of your Hobbs? I'll tell you though, I had one orange kitty in my life, just one. His name was Whiskey. His brother, he had a brother kitty from a different litter, but they were born 4 days apart in the same house. So they nursed off of each other's moms. So like they were basically the same litter, you know? They were brothers basically. And so I had and his brother's name was Guinness. Guinness was a black kitty. And then Whiskey was my orange kitty. So I had an orange kitty and a black kitty. And I have to say, Whiskey was such a strong personality. And such a character. It's so typically orange cat. I don't think I could ever have an orange cat again. Like, I have a quadrillion black cats. I've had them and I will continue to have them. I love black cats. But honestly, I don't know if I could ever have an orange kitty again, because I just don't feel like... I don't know. I just feel like Whiskey was... There's just nothing like Whiskey, you know? And I just don't know if I could ever replace my little Whiskey with another orange kitty. So, which I know is very strange, because it's like, well, just because he's an orange kitty doesn't mean you're replacing him. But just, I don't know. I think I might have to leave my singular orange kitty memories only for Whiskey. Which is ironic, because normally when you're talking about Whiskey, you generally aren't talking about memories. You're talking about a lack of memories thanks to the Whiskey, right? And okay, Kenny, Hobbs passed it in 2014. You still haven't gotten over it. You've been petless ever since. Yeah, I can appreciate that. Like, that's... See, I feel like maybe you understand what I mean by, like... After you have an orange kitty like that, it's just so hard to even think of replacing them. Because the orange kitties are... If you guys have never had an orange kitty, well, you just don't know. You just don't know. But for those of us who've had an orange kitty, we know. We know. Yep, exactly. We know. And, yeah, okay, good. So, yeah, okay, so you understand what I mean. Yeah, I mean, it's like, I'm glad that my irrational lack of desire for another orange cat makes sense in a weird way. Now, Rick, Darlene, I feel like you don't have any animals right now, but I might be lying. Because I also want to say you have a dog. So do you guys have any animals? Or are you sans animals, which is why you guys get to go back and forth to the cabin as often as you do? Because gosh darn it, I feel like you don't, because you travel so much, but at the same time, I feel like you do. In the back of my head, I want to say that you do. And Cindy Krause, the feral kitty at your dad's house, he called outside kitty. He went to the vet, had shots, etc., like the inside kitties, but he was never in the house. Yeah, exactly. I had a cat like that too. I called him Puff. He would sleep in my house sometimes when it was cold, in the winter. But he basically was just the outside cat. And my cats, Whiskey and Guinness, tolerated him. In fact, actually, it was kind of funny because my cats were pretty protective of the yard. But for some reason, Puff was allowed, and then Puff quickly clued in who wasn't welcome in the zone. And so he just sort of took over being guard duty, and he just I guess Whiskey and Guinness gave Puff here's a list of all the cats that aren't welcome. They're not on the list to get into this backyard, wonderful, Garden of Eden. So kick all these cats out if you see them. And Puff took that duty to heart. He would chase off all of the cats that formerly my cats would have to chase off. And so he was clearly welcomed with warm arms as far as Whiskey and Guinness were concerned. And yeah, exactly, Rick. And Whiskey followed by a Guinness chaser. Sounds good. Exactly. Whiskey was 4 days older. Guinness was born 4 days later. So he was a little bit of a Guinness chaser. And the funniest thing about these cats, so I had a friend who had way too many cats that were not fixed. And 2 of them got pregnant. And so she had a bunch of kittens. And I said, okay, I want 2 kittens. I want the orange boy, and then she had a whole litter of black cats. And I was like, and I want one of the black cats too. But I'm going to be moving, so I'm not going to be able to take them until they're 16 weeks old. And she's like, that's okay. But when they were really, 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 really young, I went over and picked my black kitten. And so I picked the kitten out of the litter, the black kitten that I wanted, and I already knew I wanted the orange kitten. And so I told her which cat I wanted, and she had collars for him or whatever, so she was able to keep track. And as it turned out, of the entire 2 litters of cats, 2 of the cats got along incredibly and were always with each other. And it was Whiskey and Guinness. It was the 2 cats that I picked. So I actually ended up I picked 2 cats that got along. Yeah, it was just the strangest coincidence. So they were like bonded. It was just awful. And so so let's see here. Darlene, right now, no animals, but you did have 3 dachshunds. In the last 4 years, no doggies or kittens. Rick is allergic. Okay, I feel like we've had this conversation before, actually. And Kenny, Hobbs picked you at the shelter. Sadly, he was born with a genetic heart defect, and it eventually did my bub cat in. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was your bub cat. And I think that's so awesome too that that he picked you from the shelter. I had another kitty who picked me, as it were. It was the middle of the night, and I was leaving one of my friend's house, and this cat was just screaming. I eventually found it, and it was this tiny little kitten. And I don't know where she came from, but she became mine, and I took her home, and she was mine forever until not. But you know, she lived like, I think, 17 years. So I love it when animals pick us. And Rick says, I told Darlene she could get another dog if she wanted, but to also tell me her new address when she got one. Fair enough. You know, though, it's so weird because, okay, you know, you guys are, you are allergic, Rick, but Kenny, you know, he's heartbroken, so he didn't get any more animals. And I have to say, after Ashes and Dusty are done being my kitties, I'm not so sure, famous last words, I know, but I'm not so sure, you know, I'm just not so sure that I am going to get any more, because it is so hard when it's the end. You have to make that decision, and just the whole, it's so, everything about it, it's so hard. So, not to mention also, you know, if you don't have animals, you get to be like Rick and Darlene, and you get to go travel all over, you know, all over Hell's Half Acre, basically, for lack of a better term. And Kenny, oh my goodness, when you got Hobbs, he was so small, you could have taken him home in the pocket of your work shirt. Oh my goodness, that is so cute. That is so cute. Yeah, the littlest kitten in the video that showed earlier, Foss, he is 1.1 pound, so he's a very tiny one. And Darlene, no, exactly. It's really hard to just say goodbye to them. And then as they age, they get issues, and it's expensive too. It's heartbreaking. Absolutely, because it's just like, well, you know, if I could do this, I mean, as someone who doesn't have infinity money, this doesn't happen very often, but sometimes it's just like, well, I have the money to do this expensive procedure, but is that even a good idea? Because sure, it'll fix the current issue, but is it a good quality of life? Is it blah, blah, blah? You know, there's so many moral questions and cost benefit analysis, for lack of a better term, which is a horribly cold way to look at it, but at the same time, it's ultimately what it is. You know, yeah, it's such a heavy pressure. And Pacola T, our girls have been with us 12 years, and Gary said when they cross the Rainbow Bridge, no more. Yeah, I can feel that, but see, Honda, I see now. Okay, so I'm sitting here over here talking out of one side of my face, and then see, Honda is like, I'm the opposite. Whenever I lose my cat, I desperately need another one. Maybe selfish. See, but I am kind of on that same page too. As much as I would love to say, oh yeah, they're gonna be my last, it's just like, really? Are they really? Because, you know, I live by myself, and so sometimes it is nice to come home to a not quite empty house. You know, I mean, my cats are happy to see me, and it's not just because I've got the food dish, it's because they actually want to see me, because their food dish is available all the time, so that's not why they're waiting for me by the door. They're waiting for me by the door because they want an ear scritch. So, you know, I just, like, it's nice to come home to something that likes you to be home. And, Kenny from the Cove, people who say money can't buy happiness never paid the fee to spring a dog or a cat from a shelter. Exactly, yeah. And I mean, ultimately, money can buy happiness, and they have actually proven this. Like, there's a certain dollar amount that basically, I want to say, like, when they did the study, it was like $75,000, but now it's probably more like $125,000. But they've done surveys, and, like, basically, the people who make up to a certain amount of money are just as happy as the people who make more. As long as you've got enough money to pay your bills, you're going to be happy. As happy as you're going to get. Like, because otherwise money doesn't buy happiness unless it is your, you know, your basic... Up to a certain point, money does buy happiness. And then beyond that, it does not. And that certain point is... all of your living expenses. So as long as you can pay all of your living expenses, anything else isn't going to buy you any more happiness. And they've actually, like, proven that. I don't have footnotes for my thesis. I honestly do not. But I read it on the internet somewhere, so I'm thinking it must be true. And yeah, there we go. Let's see. Pacola T, a few months ago, you took your ailing cat to the vet, diagnosed with tumors. And yeah, just decided to let things run their course. And today, by some miracle, she has so much energy and appetite as a youngster. Awesome, dude. Yeah. There you go. Rick, or the dish food is empty. That doesn't happen very often, but you might have a point there. And Darlene, yeah, exactly. Having companion animals are mood lifters, and they do bring health benefits. Exactly. And Kenny from the Cove, oh no, it's dusty in Kenny's house. Someone's cutting onions and then dust got in his eye. I hate that when that happens, Kenny. I'm so sorry. I hope it's good onions instead of bad onions. Okay, so speaking of, we're gonna switch gears a little bit. And hopefully this will make the onions stop, because I don't know, maybe it will, maybe it won't. But a couple days ago, one of my sister's friends from, like, kindergarten, like, I knew her too, you know, we've grown up together. She lives in our hometown again, and her kids go to the same doctor that she used to go to, that I used to go to, a doctor called Dr. Shaw. Now, I moved to my hometown in Bremerton in like 78, and I started seeing this doctor in 1978. Now, why am I telling you all this? Well, because I am hoping that you guys can take a little trip down memory lane and look at this picture. Now, granted, I've taken the kids' faces out, but that older lady in the middle, that was my doctor, Dr. Shaw. And do you see everything? Basically, the painting on the wall, the garbage can, the countertop. Yeah, that's identical to the doctor's office that I went to. Like, literally nothing has changed in that doctor's office since 1978. And I just I don't know, for some reason taking cats to the vet reminded me that I had this picture of my doctor's office, and I just thought I'd share with you a blast from the past that's actually a time capsule, because she still has this office and it still looks exactly like that. I don't know how she's managed to keep it in And yeah, I don't know how she's managed to keep it in such pristine flippin' condition. Clearly, she takes good care of her stuff. But exactly, Picolity, Harvest Gold Formica countertops. I think we know what decade that was built. Precisely. It was, well, I can tell you, it was built in the 70s. I can tell you for certain. And so, hopefully, looking at 1970s stuff makes you giggle a little bit, because I can't help but laugh at that picture. It literally, I know it doesn't have the same emotional effect with you guys, but quite literally, dude, that was the doctor's office. Like, when I was a little kid, getting all of my vaccines, getting all of my whatevers, if I had a boo-boo and the doctor needed to fix it, that is literally the room I was treated in, literally. So there you have it, kittens. You get to see what one of my little childhood memories is. Exactly, Rick. 45 years, still plenty mileage left on that office decor. Yeah, but you know what? I have to say, like, because all of the paintings are on the wall are of the Peanuts. And I guess I'm dating myself, because I suppose some kids these days probably look at those drawings and are just like, what are those? Because the Peanuts, I mean, I don't know. Are the Peanuts still running in newspaper columns? Do kids these days know about the Peanuts? But I just feel like they must, right? And I feel like those paintings are just like so timeless. Like, I really like that she didn't have some trendy, like, Little Mermaid or whatever that's just like, well, this is just so 1987 or whenever, I don't know when Little Mermaid came out. Whereas the Peanuts, it's just so classic. It's just so classic. Then again, some kid is probably just like, old lady, I don't even know what that is. Kenny from the Cove, you really identify with Charlie Brown. Yeah, honestly, I feel like he was sort of, I mean, he was intended to be like the everyman, wasn't he? I mean, I guess he was actually intended to be Charles Schultz. That was his, himself. That was his depiction of himself in cartoon form, I guess. But at the same time, I feel like, I don't know, I guess maybe I must look at myself as a little bit of a Charlie Brown, because I sure as heck am not a Lucy. Dude, seriously, Lucy really made me angry. I really did not like her. Anyway, so Picolity started going to the same clinic, frequented as a child when you moved back to Oahu. Same Frickman exam rooms with same old crookedy crank windows from 50 years ago. Dang. That's just so wrong. But at the same time, it's like, really, can't we get an upgrade? But at the same time, I don't know. I find it comforting. And I suppose I shouldn't, because it's just like, better hope the doctors are more up to date than their decor, right? Because a lot has changed in medical science in the last 45 years. But at the same time, I find it remarkably comforting. I don't know why. And see, Honda, you love Peanuts. Your family considered you Lucy. Oh no, that's hysterical. That is, well, Lucy, I will admit, she was a good businesswoman, I mean, she was sharp. I just don't think that, what I don't like. Just that whole football thing with Charlie Brown. That's what I don't like about Lucy. Let's see here. Kenny from the Cove, you saw Lucy Van Pelt pregnant yelling. You saw a drawing of Lucy pregnant yelling, "Damn you, Charlie Brown." Yeah, well, once again, maybe not the best use of Peanuts art as far as Charles Schultz is concerned, but, really? I mean, the Peanuts kids did eventually grow up, right? Picolity, every time you go to the clinic, you're afraid the ancient elevator will go kaput. Totally. Yeah, exactly, C. Honda, Fuss Budget, and the doctor is in. Yeah, I mean, she was a savvy businesswoman. She knew how to, get some dollar bill, y'all. That was, that was it, for sure. And I also really liked, I really liked Peppermint Patty, but, and I'm sure they did this on purpose, I guess. But as a kid, a little kid, I know now what, anyway, as a little kid, Peppermint Patty, I just wasn't ever sure if Peppermint Patty was a boy or a girl, because Patty is a name for a boy or a girl. I mean, I realize now she was a girl, and, you know, there's some inferences you can make about her, but I didn't know. As a little kid, I didn't know Peppermint Patty was a girl or a boy. I truly didn't. I didn't know. E-Music, your siblings called you Lucy because you were the one who babysat them. Oh, okay. Oh, that makes sense. That definitely makes sense. Okay, so I know this is a silly question, and I think I already know the answer, but Lucy and Linus were brother and sister, right? Right? Did I make that up? Because Charlie Brown has a sister whose name I can't remember, but Lucy and Linus were brother and sister, right? Right? Let's see here. Picola T, if anyone has a chance to visit the Charles Schulz Museum in Santa Rosa, it's well worth the time. Such a fun place. Oh, I didn't even know. Now, why it didn't occur to me there would or wouldn't be one. I had no idea there was a Peanuts Charles Schulz Museum. That probably would be a really fun museum to go to. Picola T, Sally. Okay, Sally was Charlie Brown's sister, but Lucy and Linus were brother and sister, right? Right? And, FYI, the Charlie Brown Foundation is accepting donations. All proceeds go towards good grief counselors. That's funny, Rick. That's really funny. Although I have to wonder, like, while you make this joke, like, did you make this joke or did the Charlie Brown Foundation, like, make this joke? Because that would be a really good campaign slogan, like fundraising slogan, right? I think that'd be a hysterical fundraising slogan. I would probably donate just because of that slogan. Let's see here. And Quilty, what was the name of the little red-headed girl that Charlie Brown had such a crush on? Oh, I don't know. E-Music, oh, hey, by the way, good to see you, E-Music. If I didn't say hello before, I feel like I didn't, even though you've been here a while. Sorry about that. You like the music for the early Peanut TV shows? Yeah, I do too, actually. I think I even have a CD of a bunch of the Charles Schulz. You know, I'm not a fan of jazz per se, but like I really dug the jazzy kind of music that the Peanuts had. I was forbidden from playing the CD that has the music when I bought it because I lived with a woman who she had a insane dislike for Charlie Brown theme song, and I was also not allowed to play Supertramp Breakfast from America in her house. She just couldn't. She had two older brothers growing up, and that album, I guess, was so much a part of her childhood that she just could not allow Supertramp's Breakfast for America or Breakfast in America, whatever that one is, in the house to be played. No, you can't play it. She had some very strange rules. They were all very easy to live by, but they were very specific and very arbitrary. Like, you shall not play the Charlie Brown theme song. You shall not play Supertramp's Breakfast in America or Breakfast for America or whatever the hell that one is called. Kenny from the Cove, I know, Breakfast in America was a great album. I was kind of like that of all of the rules that I had to live by. That one was kind of the hardest one. It was like, but I know, Breakfast in America is a great Supertramp album. And the cover of the artwork on the cover was brilliant, and it just, she didn't mind the artwork. Well, actually, she did mind the artwork now that I think about it, but the artwork was allowed in the house as long as she didn't have to look at it, I guess. But the, the noise that the album made, the music, the sound. Yeah, no, not allowed to play that. And, oh, Rick, you even have the album? So you... Pardon me while I get overly excited about something that doesn't really matter, but... Oh, dude, you have the album? That's such a great art cover work. Yeah, there we go. And, Kenny, I bet that lady hated Pink Floyd, too. You know, I think she and I had shared an aversion to Pink Floyd. It's not that I dislike it. I just, well, much like the Supertramp album, it's just like, you know, it's not really my thing. And I've really have been forced to listen to a lot of Pink Floyd. And I just don't really want to voluntarily. I actually don't know. I don't know. I mean, because Pink Floyd for me, that probably would have never come up in conversation, I guess, because I probably never would have played Pink Floyd to begin with. I mean, I keep looking over my shoulder at my CD rack because, like, because I still have CDs, right? And I'm pretty sure I've got a couple Pink Floyd albums, but yeah, I just don't really ever play them. And yeah, Kenny, you made me go silent. Like, mark it down on your calendar. That one's kind of crazy. For sure. And for those of you who don't believe that I still have CDs, I actually, last night, okay, so this is embarrassing, but it's totally true. Last night I was trying to last night I pulled out a stack of CDs, and just so you know, this stack is all by one band. Called the Super Suckers, and I pulled out all my Super Sucker CDs, and I was looking for this one particular song that I wanted to use in one of my videos, because I was thinking, and I realized this is now a bad plan, but I was thinking before I realized it was a bad plan, I was thinking if I used a song from a band I like and I get copyright struck for it, that would be okay, because that just means that all the ad revenue goes to the band that I like. But then I remembered, sometimes copyright strikes just get the video to be silent, and that's not what I want. So I don't know if my good idea was a good idea or not. But the point is, I had this idea about how to work the copyright system, and I was going to try and do it. However, I don't know how to take songs off of CDs anymore. I tried 1,000,008 different ways to take the song off of the CD and save it onto my computer. I used to be able to do it, but I don't know how anymore, or I don't have the right software to do it. Anyway, the song that I wanted to take off of the album that I own to use for the Kitten video, actually, couldn't figure out how to do it. So yeah, I don't know. And let's see here. Kawela T says, really? Okay, so I was thinking I'd completely forgotten that we threw out that question and nobody clearly answered it, but I guess for a reason. The little redheaded girl was never named. I had no idea. But in real life was a girl who broke Schultz's heart when he had a diamond ring ready, but she married someone else in 1950. Wow. I gotta tell you though, dude, that story sounds kind of weird. I mean, like, was she dating them? Was she dating Charles Schultz and the other guy that she married? Or did Charles Schultz just how quick did dudes start buying diamond rings back in 1950? Like, that just seems strange that he would have a ring for her, but then she would go and marry somebody else. Like, dang, girl. What? How did that happen? So, let's see here. Darlene, Rick likes redheaded girls too. You were once more of an auburn red color, but now white. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so Picolti, so she did date Schultz. Well, I guess she was probably dating... I mean, it's like she was obviously dating more than one dude at one time, right? I guess, right? And I mean, I guess what she had many suitors, and she eventually chose the one to settle down with. I mean, dating was so different back then. I have no idea what was socially appropriate or not socially appropriate. But to me, it's just like, dang, girl, you're getting diamond rings from all the directions? That seems like you were a bit of a player. Hey, Shock, good to see you. We are talking about the mysterious redheaded girl on Charlie Brown. And if you know her name, the Charlie Brown cartoon, and if you know her name, then you're probably making it up, because apparently she didn't have a name. I mean, in real life, the girl that she was drawn after did have a real name, but I guess the cartoon character did not. Now you know. And, oh, you can't hear anything? Okay. Oh, you're at a bar. Yay! If you're not going to be at the beach and you're not going to be on the visiting us on the stream, then being at a bar is a very acceptable place to be. So there we have it. And oh, right on. It looks like Shock is out and about being all fancy pants because she's got a friend being all fancy pants, being the performer, perfecto. That is super awesome. I hope that you didn't have to pay to get in, but you can't hear me, so why am I even talking to Shock right now? And Pacola T, I don't know. Is she having a whiskey and Guinness? Let's find out, I guess, since you just threw that down in the chat. It would be appropriate if she was having a whiskey and a Guinness. That's for darn sure. Now, the whiskey that my cat was named after was the Johnnie Walker Red, just so you know. But that doesn't mean that that it has to be Johnnie Walker Red. I don't know what a Smithwick's is. I'm going to assume a Smithwick's is some kind of beer or cider. But I don't really know. And yeah, Darlene, because I want to be where Shock is. Yeah, exactly. And it's funny you should say that because I am actually planning on going to the bar after the stream is done today. There's a Chinese food restaurant that's down the street from my house that has literally the most perfect... Dude, you guys, this Chinese food restaurant has been in my town since 1952, and literally, it's never changed. You know that picture that I showed of my doctor's office? That hadn't changed in like 45 years? Yeah, well, this bar hasn't changed in like 70 years. Seriously? Red, fluffy wallpaper, dark lighting, gold accents. You know what a Chinese food restaurant used to look like, right? Yeah, that's what it is. And you go back to the bar, and it's like super dark, and it's just like the quintessential Chinese food restaurant bar that hasn't changed in 70 years. Anyway, they've got a really good noodle dish there at that restaurant, and so I like to order the noodles and then wait in the bar while it's getting cooked. So that's my dinner plans for the evening. I'm gonna go get some noodles and then have a Pabst Blue Ribbon in the oldest Chinese food bar in my town. Well, okay, I don't know if it's the oldest, but I think it's one of the oldest. And seriously, you guys, if you've never been to an old school Chinese food restaurant, I'm not saying that it's the law, but I think it's the law that the pours that you're going to get at the Chinese food restaurant they're heavy pours. You're going to get drunk, just so you know. And Kenny from the Cove, oh no, the last time you walked into a bar, you got a bruise on your forehead, stupid low-hanging bar. Ha, that's funny. That's funny. I did that once too. Not at a drinking establishment bar, but because I'm a smarty every day, there was this one time that I was getting into my car. Let me rephrase that. I was approaching my vehicle to get into my driver's side door. As I approached the vehicle, I noticed, oh my, there is a metal bar sticking out of the cement wall, right around head level. And I said to myself, don't hit your head on that bar when you get in the car. So what I then did was I opened the car door and somehow managed to hit my head so hard I literally saw stars. Like, it was that moment where I was like, oh, that's why cartoons show stars when people get knocked out, because you see stars. Like, I saw stars. Yeah. Gave myself a nice concussion. It was, yeah. So I am, okay. I totally understand how it feels to walk into a bar, and not the good kind of bar at all. Not at all. And yeah, Pocola T, don't get Shanghai'd at the bar. There you go. Reference to Seattle Underground Tour. Well, not only Seattle Underground Tour type thing. Actually, I don't know if you guys know this, but I'm going to tell you now. I had a friend who grew up in Portland, Oregon, and Portland, Oregon is a relatively newly built city. They basically tore down all the old city, all the old port buildings and things like that. And when they built the new city, specifically so there were no alleyways, no alleys between the buildings. And one of the reasons was because Portland, Oregon had such a reputation for people being Shanghai'd that they basically built the city to prevent nefarious people from creating, underground tunnels and backdoor whiskaways from drugged sailors or whatever. But Portland, Oregon used to be one of the Shanghai'd capital places. Seattle and Portland both had real problems with being Shanghai'd. Now, I don't really know if you guys know what we mean by Shanghai'd, but basically sailors back in the day would get themselves so drunk, be it drugged or not, be it hit over the head with a bat or not, whatever. They'd find themselves passed out and then woke up on a ship to China to, go work the ship without necessarily, agreeing to be part of the crew. And so that's part of the maritime history of the West Coast. Is plenty people were involuntarily volunteered for certain merchant marine services that they did not sign up for. So there you go. And see, Honda. So it's true. You can see stars. You do. You really do. And I'm not. Just take my word for it. You don't need to try it yourself. I do not recommend self-induced star sighting. Do not recommend it at all. Just take my word for it. Let's see here. Oh, wow. Nice, eMusic. You got to be a great aunt last week, courtesy of a Hanai nephew. You were his first babysitter. And it looks like Cindy also got to be, I don't know if it was a great auntie or an auntie, but I'm going to assume great auntie. And it's a baby girl, and you're waiting for her stats. Fantastic. Perfect. All right, so let's see here. Oh, okay, cool. You guys still talking about babies. Kenny from the Cove, you actually saw stars a few times in football. Yeah, I'm not surprised, especially back in your day when head safety, a concussion protocol hadn't even been thought of, let alone instigated. And by the way, when I say back in your day, that actually probably applies to like anyone in football over a decade ago. Because seriously, the NFL, actually not just the NFL, all major sports, wrestling, all major sports that risk head injury haven't really taken head injuries as seriously as they needed to until relatively recently. And for that, I think we're all thankful for. But for folks like Kenny, yeah, dude, he might have seen some stars. Yeah. Holy crumb, dude. Cindy Krause, 13 grandkids for your sister. The second oldest, Rusty, and girlfriend are expecting a baby in November. That'll make 2 times a great auntie. Holy flying fork. That is a lot of babies. And Shock, you've seen stars at the dojo? Yeah, there you go. And Pacola T, you've seen stars after head bumps, but didn't hear birds chirping too. No, I didn't hear the birds chirping, actually. And honestly, I don't want to find out how realistic, like, you know, because the stars, you know, it's like, oh, wow, there really is stars. I don't want to come to the point where it's like, oh, wow, there's really bird chirping too. I don't want to get hit that hard. Let's see here. Oh, Kenny from the Cove, 4 times, twice in street football. You're not at all surprised about street football, but also twice in high school. Not really that surprising either. Cindy Krause, I saw stars as a kid when I jumped off the neighbor's roof. Not a smart move. No, not at all. Rick bragging about his beautiful, wonderful natureness. I never saw self-inflicted stars. Which makes me wonder, Rick, have you seen stars that were not self-inflicted? But I saw shooting stars the last few nights in the dark cabin skies. Yeah, I bet you did. That is super, super flippin' awesome. All right, cool. Well, hey, it's Wednesday. I don't have much to say about whales today, but I've got a little bit, just a little bit, that I would like to share. And since we're talking about natures, we're gonna switch gears, you know, nature, shooting stars, dark nights. See what I did there? That's a poorly made transition, but that's what we're doing. So, talking about natures, and you guys know how I feel about maps. So, of course, I'm gonna throw down a map. But basically, I have a video of an orca. I was gonna say transaction, but that's not the word I'm. It's an orca. A bunch of orcas and a bunch of seals on the beach in the Puget Sound. And frankly, for me, the biggest part of this video was like, oh my God, I've never seen so many seals on a beach in Puget Sound, right? So like, I was kind of more impressed with the seals than the orcas, but it's a super cool video. Takes place, here we go. So we're gonna do maps. All right. So the red dot in the middle lower section of the screen, that is McNeil Island. And McNeil Island is, like I said in my previous stream, McNeil Island is mostly uninhabited. There is a prison on that island, but for the most part, uninhabited island. So the red dot is the McNeil Island where where the seals were lounging upon the shores and where this video was taken. So let's do a couple things. Let's do this. And yeah, you're going to have to put up with a couple commercials. Sorry.
Dozen orcas. Yeah, this video taken early Saturday morning shows several large orcas close to the shoreline off of McNeil Island. Just incredible. Cairo 7's Jake Chapman caught up with the man who actually took that video. Jake, I can only imagine what was going through this guy's head. Absolutely wild video here.
It really is, Ellen. He tells me that the whales that got close to his boat, 25-foot sailboat, were almost as big as his boat, which he did say made him just a little nervous, but it was quite a show. Take a look at that video again. Just incredible video. Now, David Williams said this all happened Saturday morning where he and his wife took their sailboat out near McNeil Island for their 22nd wedding anniversary. Now, he says it was a pretty nature-packed weekend even before the encounter. As you can see in some of the video, there are hundreds of seals on the beach. Now, he says in the morning they heard stranger, louder sounds, which he thought at first was a whale, but his wife didn't believe it. But then they saw a large fin by their boat, and that's when they got up and took this video. Now, his wife told me that these orcas got so close she felt like she could just reach out of the boat and touch them. And as you could imagine, this is a wedding anniversary they're never going to forget.
It was just disbelief. We were just like, I couldn't believe what I was seeing, and I was just trying to shoot it all, and look at it too, and try and take it all in.
We'll never ever forget this. I've been boating with Dave for 25 years, and we've never ever experienced anything like this. I was so thrilled.
Now, he did tell me that the orca's presence did spook all of those seals on the beach, as we saw in the video, dozens of them running up the beach trying to get away. But get this, Elle, they weren't even supposed to be there this weekend. They actually had their plans to go to the Oregon coast instead, but at the last minute, they decided to change that, and you can imagine, I bet they're pretty happy tonight that they did. We're at the waterfront. Jake Chapman, Cairo 7 News.
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, basically that was my little Whale Talk Wednesday. Not a whole lot of whale talk, but I thought it was such great footage. I definitely wanted to share it with all y'all. And yeah, seeing the Darlene both so close together, not good for the seals. It sounds like he didn't witness any hunting. I mean, well, let me rephrase that. Clearly, he was witnessing hunting. He didn't witness any successful catches, it sounds like, or if they did, they didn't mention that. But yeah, the seals were just like, oh heck no, we got to get higher up on the land. I was just so impressed with all of the seals that were there. I literally had no idea that there were areas in the Puget Sound that hosted that many seals. I don't know why I was so clueless about it. I mean, it stands to reason that islands that are almost uninhabited would be swarming with wildlife I don't see in the regular beach area. But yeah, a bunch of seals and a bunch of orcas, a bunch of them apparently. And Sea Honda, but don't touch them. Doo-doo-doo. Yeah, I know, exactly. I was just like, why did you mention that you were thinking of touching them? You really shouldn't have mentioned that. So, hey, Broken Soul, good to see you. Thank you so much for subbing for that 6 months. That is super awesome. We just finished watching a little video about the orcas, because it is Whale Talk Wednesday, and I like to talk a little bit about whales usually every Wednesday, but not every Wednesday. But today I had something little, so I figured I'd share. And let's see here. Yeah, Pacola Tea, exactly. Not a lot of folks strolling the beaches in McNeil Island since they're behind bars. And if they're not behind bars, they're on the clock, and they're not there on a picnic. They're on the clock because, you know, like you said, you used to watch the uniformed guards ride the ferry back and forth. Exactly. Because I think, and I'm pretty sure I'm making this up, but maybe I'm not. I think that the ferry to McNeil Island went from Steilacoom, right? Like, that's where the ferry to that island is, right? So there you have it. And I didn't realize that McNeil Island was a federal penitentiary. I knew that we had our sex offender unit there. And just so you know, folks, which is kind of, I find this somewhat ironic. When I wrote on the chat that the state of Washington sends their sex offenders to an island for the rest of their life, we basically do. Now, this particular program that we have on McNeil Island for the state of Washington has been taken to court a lot, but it still stands. Just because if you're a sex offender in Washington and you say have been assigned a 20-year sentence, that's great. You're going to do your 20 years. And then when you're done, you might not get let out. We'll decide if you are cured enough. And while we decide if you're cured enough, you're going to go live on this island. Yeah, I know you did your 20 years and that was all. It doesn't matter. You get to stay here away from everyone till we decide you might be okay back in public. So literally, like, we send those folks to an island and for the rest of their life, because not a lot of folks get let out, basically. For better or for worse, that is our system here in Washington, but that is what McNeil Island is used for. Apparently that and a federal penitentiary. So, hey, yeah, you really don't want to go to McNeil. You really don't want to go to McNeil Island. Like, maybe boat ride to it, but don't set foot on it. Just don't. You don't want to go there. Not at all. And so let's see here. All right, so today I didn't set up my stream deck. So looking on my notes I'm all discombobulated today. Yesterday, or last stream and this stream, I, for some reason, didn't get my stream deck organized, and so I have to say, you guys, stream decks are wonderful, and if you ever like to punch buttons, you should get a stream deck, and don't have mine I'm not using it right now, and I'm feeling frustrated. There we go. But, yes, support Lono, exactly, you guys. And see Honda, Escape from McNeil Island, good movie, I'm assuming. I've never heard of anyone escaping from McNeil Island. The water might not be as rough as the water surrounding Alcatraz in the Bay Area, but the water, and I don't know how cold the water is in the Bay Area, but the water in Puget Sound hovers between 53 and 56 degrees all year round. So swimming from the island to any place else would be your body wouldn't survive, basically. Your muscles would freeze up. You wouldn't be able to do it. But I know that they didn't swim off of Alcatraz. They created a little whatever and a little boat and, got off or whatever. So, I mean, a little dinghy, I suppose, maybe someone could have tried. I've never heard of it. I don't know, but no swimming. I can pretty much guarantee they wouldn't have swum. Swum? Whatever. So, hey Rick, thank you so much for wielding that sword. I love it. And thank you guys so much for shouting out Lono. In fact, before I forget, why don't we watch a little bit of Lono? Because we haven't watched Lono in the last couple streams. And you know what? I think that we like Lono because Lono's pretty awesome and, life is pretty good.
Okay, Kent and Angie, key of G. In the light of the river that flows, carries a lake, through the ocean it will go, then out to the sea, over the horizon, somewhere in a new world, waiting for something alone. And in this moment, I found a few friends who brought me comfort and joy. When the light shines on each brand new day, and you see its rays through the cloudiest of days, and you see the light of your life racing in front of you, there we will stand and try again. For just one moment, I still remember you. For all the good things we share. Yeah, and we know life is pretty good. The sun is shining. When you get there, give me a call if you would. I'm just waiting. And the last time that we said goodbye, I could not feel the pain. Though I would try to feel the love that two people feel for one another, looking for bright days. I see your smile when I'm okay. Wonderful life is what we dream of. I I see the light in your eyes. Yeah, we know life is pretty good. Sun is shining. When you get there, give me a call if you would. I'm just waiting. Yeah, we know life is pretty good. Sun is shining. Get there, give me a call if you would. I'm just waiting. I'm just waiting. Life is pretty good. Life is pretty good.
All right, there we have it. So thank you so much, Rick, for throwing down that link. And oops, got to do that. All right, and let's see here, Cola Tea. So yeah, talking about some very unpleasant things while a wonderful song is going on in the background. Cola Tea, a few times, sort of the non-criminal patients got out. One knocked on your door and asked where the store was. Oh my God, when you reported to the cops, they said the patients are typically looking for candy and other forbidden treats. You know, that's really, I mean, that's not, it's not funny, but, but I have heard, okay, so because I used to work in the mental health industry, I've heard plenty of stories about Western State Hospital. For those of you who aren't familiar with what Cola Tea is referring to and what I'm really talking about, Western State Hospital is Washington State's main mental hospital. I believe we have one in Bellingham as well. Don't quote me on that. I think we used to have one in Spokane, but I don't think we do anymore. I think the one in Steilacoom, Western State Hospital, is the main one that the state uses. And it is for severely mentally ill folk. However, sometimes, like Cola Tea was saying, well, okay, so it's where they hold regularly mentally ill folk, but then also criminally mentally ill. Potentially, let's see, what am I saying? Criminals who are potentially mentally ill is also where they hold those folks. So, when the non-criminal types of mentally ill folk escape from the hospital, I kid you not, dude, they always go to the store. And it's for some, one of the patients that I had worked with through Scuttlebutt. This was like in the 90s, so this is a long time ago. They escaped, and then they went like to the Safeway or whatever, and they just mowed down at the salad bar. They went nuts on the salad bar. Like I don't know if they were like a vegetarian and they didn't have good food in the hospital. I don't know what the deal was, but dude, the salad bar was like what they were going for. So I'm not even surprised that like, it's like, yeah, well, they're not going for a salad bar. They're going for the Snickers bars and the cotton candy and the, Dr. Pepper and the Mountain Dew or whatever. But, yeah, dude, you just want to go to the store to get the stuff that you want that they won't let you have in the stupid hospital. Now, I mean, I'm not saying it's a stupid hospital, but when you're in the hospital and you want a Snickers, sometimes you might get a little hangry. And you know what? Just because you're in the mental hospital, getting hangry doesn't mean that you're crazy, because lots of folks outside of a mental hospital also get hangry. Has nothing to do with being crazy. It's everything to do with hungry and angry. There we go. Hangry. And, let's see here. Kenny from the Cove, this just drives home how much I need to get off my rump and put a peephole on my front door. Well, I don't know. See, that like I was saying though, in the chat, Steilacoom isn't really the typical, like, there's the risks that we are discussing for the town of Steilacoom really is not a risk that many people need to worry about. I mean, if you're in the same town as the state mental institution, then by all means, take these stories to heart. But if you're not in the same town as the state's mental institution, chances are these little tales really aren't gonna happen to you. I mean, they're really, aside from the occasional criminal that like gets out, for the most part, it's when people escape from Western State Hospital, for the most part, it's harmless and sometimes kind of funny. Because, they want a Snickers. Like, they literally, they walked across the street or walked down the street to some random house and asked where the store was. I'm sorry, dude, that's kind of funny. I mean, clearly not a person on the run or up to anything, nefarious, as it were. So they just want a Snickers or a salad or maybe both. So let's see here. Darlene's bragging about her peephole in her front door. I don't have a peephole, but I do have a, my front door is the most awesome front door ever. I know, strange. But, so okay, my front door opens in, right? But I have a security screen that opens out, and it's a security screen that's like, metal with bars and everything. But my doorstep is so tiny that in order to open the metal security screen, you have to be off of the doorstep, down 2 steps, and sort of to the side. And so basically, anybody that I would open the door for has to step away from the building. Step away from the building. So they'd be coming at me at a weird angle. So I feel very fortunate about the design of my doorstep. It clearly was nothing that I had anything to do with. But yeah, I like my little security gate. And let's see here. Kenny from the Cove, if I broke out of jail, I may go to a bar, but it ain't gonna be a salad bar. Exactly. Exactly, yeah. The person who broke out and mauled the salad bar at the grocery store, I'm sorry, but that is a funny story. I mean, here's the deal. Nobody got hurt other than maybe, a couple cucumbers. I mean, it was, it's just, they were returned safely. They didn't get hurt. And I realized that, it's not always funny when people escape these types of things for reasons. And actually, I've had family members, before anybody comes at me, I have actually had family members who've been institutionalized, who have escaped from the institution, and then they were lost in the woods and their body wasn't found for a few years. When their body was found, they had died of exposure. So, I understand that escaping from a mental institution does not always end well. And I am by no means making fun of folks who do it, but to go to a salad bar, that's funny, all right? That's funny. And Andre, you are showing up at the very last minute and throwing down all sorts of monies. I'm not sure how many, so I'm going to say 8. I think it was 800 biddies there, and C Honda also with 200 biddies with the little corgis. That's so beautiful. And Darlene, 200 biddies. You guys, we've got a hype train? That's bizarre. Kenny from the Cove, I got an extra 2 years on my sentence because of a Cobb salad. God, well, it would have been an extra 5 years if you'd upped it to a Waldorf, my friend. Whew. You don't even want to talk about what it would have been if it was, what is that, or how about a Caesar salad? I can say that. A Caesar salad would have gotten you an extra decade. So let's see here. Picola T, belly up to that salad bar. Order a bowl with a shot of ranch. That's funny. And Andre, thank you so much for the 400 biddies. And Darlene, exactly. It's funny, but sad at the same time. Exactly. And that's why I shared my family history to give you guys a context of wow, she seems really cold and kind of making fun of things. You have to make fun of some things, and so I recognize that it's not necessarily funny, but sometimes it's funny. And right, Andre, exactly. In prison, fresh vegetables are hard to get. Drugs and booze, not necessarily so much. So exactly, Kenny, you might have escaped to go to the salad bar now that Andre points that out. That's a really good point, Andre. Fresh fruit and vegetables are probably harder to find because they sure as heck, don't spend a lot of money on feeding prisoners. And so the fresh fruits and veggies are always going to be the most expensive food item, basically just due to their perishability. Yeah, exactly. You got to Shawshank somebody to get a fresh salad in the prison. That is it. Okay, so on that strange note, talking about Shawshanking someone for a salad, that's what we talk about here on Chatter with Statter. It is almost the bottom of the hour. Actually, it has turned to the bottom of the hour, so we're going to wind this up. I want to thank everybody who hung out today to chat about everything and nothing. I want to thank everybody today who put up with my kittens. And I want to thank everybody who subbed, resubbed, gifted subs, and threw down all those biddies, bringing us into the hype train that we're at. But it is time to wrap things up, so we're going to shut this hype train down real quick. And I hope to see you. I hope to see you on Saturday, where we're going to be watching... I haven't gotten it yet, but we're going to be watching, in theory, the Muppet movie. If I can just remember to go to the library tomorrow and pick up the Muppet movie, we're going to be watching the Muppet movie on Saturday. And the Muppet movie was chosen because of all the great music that's in it. And because why not, So I hope to see you Saturday, 6 p.m. West Coast time at Statterbox at the cinema, so we can all hang out and we can watch the Muppet movie. All right there. Thank you so much, everybody. See you on Saturday. Take care.